the championship and the EFL. Look, we're going to get real into it next week in the nitty gritty, Adrian. But look, I'd say you're really looking forward to the new EFL season. I was almost surprised to see this selection initially when you first put it in, but I think it's starting to make sense in my head that there is perhaps juice in this price, despite it being very short.
Yeah, look, the championship is going to be strong this season because of the three clubs that went down: Leicester, Leeds, and Southampton. They're at the top of the market for a good reason. You've got Middlesbrough, Coventry, Sunderland, these kind of clubs that were already in the division that will fancy themselves potentially to go up this year. But I still think there's a gap between them and those that have come down. Leicester City, obviously I live in the area, and the fans are pretty excited by Enzo Maresca. I think that appointment has lifted morale at the time when they're feeling really, really sorry for themselves, because the football's going to be good. I think they're going to try and play a little bit like Burnley did last year. They'll play out from the back. They'll press with real aggression, have a high line. But they've got a goalkeeper now in Hermansen that is used to that. They've got a great squad for the championship level. I know they've lost Barnes and Maddison, but still got a lot of top class players there, and they've recruited sensibly. Cody, Winks, leaders, pedigree players. I think they're going to do well. Callum Doyle, left side centre back, is very, very good on loan from Manchester City. So yeah, I think personally, it's Leicester or Leeds for the championship, but I'm going to side with Leicester City.
Okay, yeah. Currently 5.0 on the Matchbook betting exchange, and if they do end up doing a Burnley, and you'll be just holding your docket throughout the season with pride, I'd say. So yeah, maybe one to take there. Mark, your thoughts on that pick and just in general on the championship this season? You're keen to comment ahead of the start.
Yeah, just I think it's incredibly tight and incredibly competitive this time around. Last year, the championship was pretty low quality, and I think that's certainly not going to be the case this time around. I think I could easily make a strong case for Leicester, Leeds, or Southampton bouncing back and taking top honours, but I could easily make a case against either or those three teams as well. It's that tight, so I wouldn't really want to sort of tie my money up and sort of nail my colours to just one of them, really. I guess if you look at the championship in the past, more recently, it's been won by sort of low price teams. So the favourites do tend to go pretty well. Burnley were 12-1 last season, but they didn't. They were absolutely. I think we saw from the first whistle in the first game on the Friday night, they were miles too good for that league. So there is easily a chance for Leicester, Leeds, or Southampton piss this league. But outside of that, I think. I like the look of Ipswich, and they have been priced in a lot since opening shows, but you can still get about 6.5 on them to be promoted. There was a time when sort of going through the leagues was not commonplace, but it wasn't a surprise, and that kind of went out of fashion in the last decade or so. But Sunderland proved last season that you can come up and you can challenge immediately for promotion. Admittedly, a weaker league this time around, it's much tougher. But Ipswich, for me, were the best team to come out of League One this century. They were absolutely fantastic, and it wasn't just the results, it was the performances as well. They were so dominant in almost all of their matches. The prices they were going off suggested that they would be more than good enough to challenge for a top six finish again this time around. I know they didn't win the league, but if you look at their expected points tally, it came in at 99 last season, which is astonishing really for a football league division. A goal difference of plus 66, which was almost twice as good as Plymouth's, who won the league. I just think that squad, that team, that club is almost box ready for another challenge. I think they're optimistic, they're bullish about their opportunities. Kieran McKenna is an incredibly impressive head coach. I think they're going to be a real force this season. I know people have scoffed at them being involved in the top six, but if Sunderland can do it last season, despite all the injuries that they suffered, changing manager as well, then there's no reason why Ipswich can't. So I think at 6.5 to be promoted. They're at 17, I think, to win the league. I think that's probably pushing a little bit, but certainly towards the top six markets and even the promotion markets too. I think there'll be a force.
Okay, yeah, a couple of plays there from the guys. And very briefly, Mark, a question actually in from producer Ryan asked me to ask you QPR to be relegated this season. I guess it's not looking good.
Got to be odds on, right?
Not looking good. Not looking good. I'll keep it brief. Yeah, Rangers and Sheffield Wednesday, the two teams I'd be really, really concerned about. I think the relegation market is being incredibly unfair on a club like Plymouth to be second favourites for relegation. I think they'll be absolutely fine. I think there's a crisis brewing at Rangers and possibly Sheffield Wednesday too after the summer as well. You can get around 3-1, 7-2 on either or, possibly bigger actually, on both teams. I think they'll really struggle. The issue with the championship and relegation betting is always the off-field shenanigans of clubs. the financials often comes into play. If you look at the last 4 or 5 seasons, points penalties have kind of made a big impact on certain teams and their prospects. So that's one to keep an eye on. There's a few teams like Blackburn and West Brom where there are murmurings of issues behind the scenes, which is obviously could be detrimental to their campaigns. But if we're talking pure footballing terms, I think QPR on Wednesday have a lot to worry about.
Okay, yeah, we will be checking weekly with Mark O'Haire and
Cheers, guys.
Weekly updates. Check us every Thursday morning in your podcast feed.